What's up guys, Kevin here. Now, playing a little bit of catch up today, bringing you guys my full review of Wolfenstein The New Order, which is available on Xbox 360, Xbox One, PS3, PS4, and PC. All the gameplay you're going to be seeing here, as well as my personal experience, is based on the PC version. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys, I did not go into this game with the highest of expectations. There are a lot of FPS titles that get churned out these days, and even though Wolfenstein does owe its name to one of the oldest in the genre, its more recent servings haven't exactly been memorable. But this thing completely caught me off guard and proved me wrong. This is an excellent throwback to old school FPS mechanics delivered in modern day graphics and style. Now, first off, this is a single player only FPS game, meaning there is just the single player campaign and that's it. There is no multiplayer, there's no special side missions, nothing. Just the single campaign, which is actually pretty rare for a lot of FPS these days, especially for a military focused one. New Order puts you in the shoes of the newest incarnation of the longtime Wolfenstein lead protagonist, B.J. Blazkowicz, in an alternate history setting where the Nazis somehow gained super advanced technology and dominate World War II. The game starts off at the end of the war, seeing Blazkowicz attempt a mission that only ends up getting shrapnel stuck in his head, leaving him brain dead, and the story skips 14 years later, where through the sheer power of Nazi rage, he snaps out of it, is still in somehow perfect physical shape, and goes on what is initially a one-man rampage to form a resistance. Now, the story isn't exactly the game's strong point, but it's not that terrible either. It takes itself entirely too seriously at times, and some bits of the plot just get really strange. But all in all, it's still solid and bearable, which succeeds in its main purpose of just giving you a reason to blow stuff up and shoot a lot of Nazis. One interesting aspect, though, is the game's split plotline. At the start of the game, you have to make a choice that basically boils down to which teammate you let die. And depending on this choice, the rest of the game will change a bit. Collectibles and power-ups are route exclusive, and while the overall story remains the same, some details and specific events change for each timeline as well, giving the single-player campaign a solid enough reason to be played twice. Now, where Wolfenstein The New Order really shines is in its gameplay. This is by no means a tactical cover-focused shooter, even on its higher difficulties, but instead it very much lives up to its legacy as a run-and-gun experience. Over the course of the game, you'll get armed to the teeth with a lot of different guns, including the usual suspects like handguns, assault rifles, shotguns, and marksman rifles, but a few other things thrown into the mix too, like a giant laser gun. Almost all guns can be dual-wielded if you find a pair, allowing you to fill the air with a lot of hot lead, though I'm a little sad that you can't choose to wield two different guns at once. If you choose to go with one gun instead, you're able to aim down the sights for more precise aim, and have the ability to use cover for peeking out of to safely knock enemies off one at a time. One thing I really like is how this game rewards you based on your particular playstyle. There's a perk system that doesn't use some kind of pseudo-RPG XP mechanic, but instead just unlocks upgrades and talents whenever you accomplish certain feats in combat, killing so many enemies with a specific gun, or dispatching them in a very specific way like power sliding. The 4 different perk groups consist of focusing on using explosives and grenades, tactical combat using cover with one gun out, all-out assault combat focused on dual-wielding and energy guns, and stealth, which focuses on a silenced pistol and knives for quietly hunting down enemies one at a time. Now, one thing I really liked about this game is how each level is designed to really emphasize one style over another, giving you the chance to want to use each one and really kind of adjust your tactics based on how many enemies you're facing, what kind of enemies, and what kind of terrain you're dealing with. The only one of these styles that did get a little weird at times, though, was the stealth. Basically, as long as you're crouching, enemies are more or less oblivious to your existence. Even in cases where multiple people are in one room, you can stealth kill one of them, while the other is easily in earshot or even looking in your general direction, and they won't notice a thing. Even guard dogs seem to lose their sense of smell and hearing as long as you're crouching. Thankfully though, stealth is mainly a way to help get through certain specific points in the game, or to initiate a combat segment, and there's plenty of times where all-out combat is your only option for tackling large groups of enemies and robots. Now, one last thing I want to touch on in the game is its health system, which actually goes back to a lot more of the old school style of health and armor, rather than the more commonly seen regenerative health model we see in so many FPS games today. There is a very small degree of regenerative health that does exist in this game, but it's very limited. You only regenerate up to the next number divisible by 20, and after that, you have to pick up health packs which can even overcharge you past your regular limit, though health will constantly reduce till it hits your regular cap. Players can also pick up body armor to act as a second health bar, and in old school fashion, what you pick up means absolutely nothing other than just adding to the meter. Did you just pick up 7 helmets? Then here's plus 35 armor. Just wear some of them as really awkward shoulder, elbow, and knee pads. It works. Basically, the easiest way for me to really sum up my whole experience with Wolfenstein The New Order is that it's just very simple, straightforward, fun FPS gameplay. It doesn't have the deepest writing, but the visuals are solid and gameplay is a beautiful return to classical mechanics. It's also got a surprisingly high amount of content relative to most FPS single-player campaigns these days. One run-through can take as long as 12 hours of game time in total, and as I said earlier, the game leaves itself pretty open to a second playthrough thanks to the split timeline. I honestly must say that Wolfenstein: The New Order is an FPS title that any fan of the genre should pick up at some point. I don't regret spending the full $60 on it right now, but it's not so great that I would say you have to rush out and drop what you're playing right now to buy it right away. If you want to wait for a price drop, that's totally an option in this case, but definitely worth playing at some point. Well, that was my review of Wolfenstein: The New Order. If you're interested in grabbing a copy for yourself right away, I do have a link posted down in the description with pricing and availability. And while you're down there, there's this nice little nifty button shaped like a thumbs up symbol. You should go ahead and click that too if you enjoyed this video. I would very much appreciate it. Now, if you guys haven't subscribed yet, please do so. I've got more content planned on the way for later this week, including full reviews of Watch Dogs and Mario Kart 8. You guys can also follow me on my personal Twitter at Kevin Kenson. You can hear my up-to-date thoughts on what I'm playing and find out what videos I'm uploading when and to which channels. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, I'm Kevin Kenson, and I'll see you later.